Hello everybody, and thank you for coming back to yet another episode of The Gloving Paradigm. I am your host, Peter, aka LPD Dubuque, and this week shall be a really fun week because I'm going to do something that's probably going to get me a lot of hate, and I don't really care because I think it's just going to be fun either way for me to do this, and it also gives me the opportunity to show you guys where I stand on certain topics within the community. And what it's going to be your unpopular opinions. Yes, I'm taking the unpopular opinions that I found throughout the various gloving groups to pretty much debate on and let you guys know where I stand on those. So first things first, I just want to let you know, thank you to everyone who did post a unpopular opinion on the post I asked about. Other than that, I actually had to go digging through all the various gloving groups through the search bar to find these, but it's totally fine. That's how it works. And basically what this episode's going to be about is I read off these unpopular opinions, or some of them might be popular opinions. It all depends on how you feel about it. And I pretty much will debate them. And if I agree with them, that's probably not going to be much debating, because some of these I do actually agree on, and some of them to a little bit of an extent. And I will give you a little caveat on that when I get to that. So let's just go ahead and get right into this. So let's freaking do this. All right, first one. Best light shows are in person and best finger shows are on camera. I agree with this. The main reason is because there's no better feeling or experience that you can have from a light show than being in person where it's right up in your face. You don't have to sit there and worry about it being out of frame or anything like that. You can watch the entire show. And of course, when it comes to finger shows, I definitely agree on camera is best because I've always looked at finger shows as just a medium of practice and performance. Not so much as like that's just the main performance and you only have to do that, especially as a glover. I'm not saying that, finger dancers are, not anywhere compared to what glovers are. That's not what I'm saying. They're just two different formats that people can enjoy either way. But I do agree that in-person light shows are the best form and camera finger shows are the best form for that. All right, here's a lovely one. Gloving is dumb. No, you're incorrect. First of all, if you think it's dumb, I don't know why you're in this community in the first place. Unless you're the type of person who likes to hate on the things that they love. I've seen people do that plenty of times in various places. So, in my opinion, I disagree. I do not think gloving is dumb. I think gloving has been one of the most interesting things in my life, and I can't really see how my life would be without it. Considering I've been doing this for 10 years, so I don't know how I can imagine the past 10 years of my life without it being there. So, next one. Oh boy, this one's actually a fun one for me. Glover's Lounge is just a ship posting group. I will certainly tell you right now, it is not really that bad. If you think it's that bad, you weren't there during the, I want to say 2013 to 2016. Those were probably the span that Glover's Lounge was really, really, really bad in terms of shit posting, and a lot of trolls were there. And I mean, we're talking about people who were not even in the community or like actually a member of the community. They were actually infiltrating our community to literally bash. There was a lot of contention happening within the community during that time period. And if you think that Glover's Lounge is like that now, you should have been there back then, because holy crap was it bad. It was really, really, really bad. So do not sit here and tell me that, it's still bad. Now, I can certainly say that it is a group, for glovers to shit post. That's fine. I will agree with that because, that's the nature of the internet now. That you're going to have people called shit posters, memers, whatever you want to call them. They're going to exist within a community. And to me, as long as what they're posting still causes a good positive laugh out of the community, then it's fine. As long as they're not literally attacking people and literally demonizing people, I think we should be fine. Okay. Here's another one that gets on my nerves. Gloving is not a flow art. If it's not a flow art, please define to me what a flow art is, because in my opinion, it is a flow art. Just like every other flow art that we have there, it's, it sticks within the same realm of its upbringings. And not only that, it just has a very strong community, and has a very wide plethora of different styles that you can choose from. And not only that, it's just, I don't know where people come off and saying that it isn't, because if gloving isn't a flow art, but poi is, I would like you to explain to me how they're not the same. Like, yes, they're not the same because one's gloving, one's poi, but in terms of a flow art, please explain to me how that is different. Alright, here's another one that gets on my nerves a lot of the times when I see it. There are no fundamentals in gloving. Yes. Yes, there is. Stop lying to yourself. Okay, first of all, when it comes to the term fundamentals, and especially when it comes to like dance or gloving or any flow art or any artistic style that exists out there, they are fundamentals. There are fundamentals to painting. There are fundamentals to drawing. There is fundamentals to martial arts. Okay, every art has fundamentals to follow. And I'm not saying that these are ironclad rules that you have to follow like divine law. And so to sit here and tell me that there's no fundamentals in gloving is a blatant lie, in my opinion, because when it comes to fundamentals, in my opinion, it is the forms that you need to learn. You know, just like in martial arts, there are forms that people need to learn and master to progress even further within the art of martial arts. You know, we have those forms as well. We have forms that we have a lot of people follow to really get themselves understanding the art of gloving. All right. So to sit here and tell me that there are no fundamentals, and I know some people are going to use the whole, oh, well, anything can be gloving as long as you're putting on gloves. I don't find that as a valid argument, because yes, I know where you're getting from when you're saying that anything that you put gloves on is counting as gloving. That's not, it's not how you're supposed to look at it. And to me, it is literally like you're twisting facts to suit theories instead of twisting theories to suit facts. Okay, and that's where I feel like a lot of misinformation is going to start happening. Okay, you can disagree with me all you want on that, and that's totally fine, but this is where I stand, that there are fundamentals in gloving, and I'm not saying that you have to master them, but for a lot of people, to master the fundamentals of gloving is the way to progress even better, because those are what a lot of concepts are based on, hence why they are called the fundamentals. Alright, next one. This one's interesting in my opinion. I didn't really think that was much of an issue, and I can't believe I actually have to cover this, but it's okay to turn down trades. Yes, I agree. You are allowed to turn down trades, because everyone, just kind of listen to me here. Listen to the old man who's been doing this for 10 years. It's okay. And it's because we're all human beings. I'm sorry. I do wish that we're all robots, that we can just go for 19 hours straight and not have to take a break, because we're all robots and all we need to do is refuel up on the fuel sources that we use to keep going. But unfortunately, that is not the case. We are human beings. We do have limitations. We do have breaking points. Okay? So please understand that if you're somebody at a festival or at a venue and you ask somebody for a trade and they turn you down, don't take it personally. I understand, especially if it's a well-known glover that you follow very, I don't want to say religiously, but you're very devoted to them as a fan. And you really, really want that show. And they tell you no. It's okay. Do not take it personally, because it's not against you as a person. They're just a human being that want to take a break. Do not be very prying or very forceful about it. You know, especially if this is like early in the festival's part of the weekend, you still have plenty of time. You know, just be patient, and just, you know, I wouldn't say like book a reservation to get a trade with them, but at least set it up where you can get that trade later down the road. Now, there's one thing I definitely want to address that I don't want people to jump the gun on, but it wouldn't hurt your chances if you ask them, like, if they wanted some water and stuff, you know, not necessarily bribing them, but I would certainly say, you know, at least the offer and the gesture is going to be nice enough for them to be a little bit more considerate. So just putting that out there, that, you know, if you get turned down for a trade, do not take it personally. It's not you as a glover. It's not a knock on your performance, you know, especially if they never met you before. How can they immediately judge your performance as a glover if they never even seen any of your stuff before, you know? So please understand that, and please don't take it personally when somebody turns down a trade. But it also doesn't mean that they're never wanting to trade with you at all. So if you're patient, things will go your way. Just let me put that out there right now. Here's one that I thought was funny, and I think it's turned into a meme of itself. Chip-to-chip communication and the randomizer made people lazy. I will say yes, and I will also say no. Okay, so one of the major things I will definitely say at this point right now is that chip-to-chip communication is probably the biggest godsend that we've ever had to bring into gloving. All right, and I'm not saying like the Spectra with the Spectra hub didn't do this. I just mean chip-to-chip communication, period. Whether it be the hub or what futuristic lights have created, that is literally a godsend. Especially somebody from me who started in 2010. We didn't have stuff like this. It is a complete different. It's just completely changed everything about gloving from when I started. Okay, and if you think that chip-to-chip communication has made you lazy because you only need program one chip and just send it off to all the other chips, sure, that makes you lazy. But to me, with the idea that the companies are actually trying to streamline the process to not only make it easier for people who are enfranchised like myself, but for somebody who's a newcomer coming fresh out of the boat into this world of gloving, I want it to be extremely easy for them to get into. I don't want them to sit there and be like, oh, well, I have to sit there and program 4 different lights and then program another 4 different lights just so I can have these patterns set up. No, I love the idea of what chip-to-chip communication has brought. Not only that, chip-to-chip communication, in my opinion, has brought a new social element to the entire world of gloving. Oh my gosh, that says awesome. I actually want that. Would you be willing to give me that? Yeah, sure. Here. Do you have chip-to-chip communication? I have chip-to-chip communication. Awesome. Here you go. Boom. Done. I love this idea. I absolutely love the idea that chip-to-chip communication brings on a whole new social element that we didn't have before in gloving. Like, how awesome is that? All right. And now when it comes to the randomizer, I will certainly say, yeah, sure, it's made people pretty lazy. But at the same time, not everybody's like me. Okay, I'm the type of person who will take the time to sit down and think about the colors that he wants to choose. Not only what colors, but what order, what flashing patterns. Everything is meticulously placed to fit a theme that I'm going with my glove sets. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how I am. And that's how it's always been for me through my entire gloving career. I've always had this idea of understanding my lights with a theme because it allows me to, once again, express myself. That's not only through just the lights, but how everything I take into account with my gloving persona, I guess. My glove sona? Maybe? We can use that word, right? Glove sona is a word? Well, if it's not a word, I'm making it a word, alright? So, yeah, I'm the type of person who does take that time, who takes the time to sit there and think about that. And, not everybody's like that. And not everybody wants to take the time to sit there and think about it. So for them to be able to create, a glove set, just having the chip make it for them and find something that they enjoy, that's fine too. If you think that it makes them lazy, that's fine. And I can agree with you to that point, but at the same time, you gotta take into consideration the glover themselves. Are they an old school head like me who's been doing this for 10 years? Yeah, you can probably say I became lazy because of the randomizer and the chip-to-chip communication. But when it comes to a brand new glover who has only done this for within 6 months, that should be a blessing to them. They should be happy that they had that right off the bat and not have to go through all the trials and errors and the the excruciating torment of just having to do maintenance with your lights like I had to starting out. So if you think those things make people lazy, fine, it made people lazy. All right, here's another one that I really like, and I think people need to understand it more. Black casings are great. Yes, they are. They're absolutely fantastic. And if you think black casings are wrong, then I think you might be in the wrong case. Now, let me explain to you what I like about black casings on the lights. Okay. we have all these different types of diffusers now, right? We have like the glass diamond diffusers, we have cube diffusers, shield diffusers, dome diffusers, popcorn diffusers, claw diffusers, pyramid diffusers. You know, people make custom diffusers as well with different shapes. You know, I've seen plenty of those. You know, we have all these different shapes and sizes and designs when it comes to our diffusers now, that when it comes to clear casings, and I won't even say like the silicone casings like futuristic lights and LED use, and it's because they're white, and I don't always see it happening, especially when it comes to camera. You kind of see it more, but in person I don't normally see it. The casings are illuminated themselves, like the Amazing Light products, especially all their clear casings. Yeah, you get that clear, you get that resonance through the clear casing. To me, that detracts from the shape of your diffuser. So black casings is the solution to that. It allows the shape of your diffusers to actually be more prominent. I certainly want to actually get my hands on black casings for futuristic lights, just because I still use the EL cube diffusers. Those have been like my de facto diffusers, and they will forever be my de facto diffusers because I love the cube diffusers. I want the shape of the cubes to be very prominent, and if the casings are illuminating in some fashion, to me it detracts from the shape of my diffusers. You know, some people will disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I understand. In my opinion though, I think black casings are great when it comes to utilizing the shape of your diffusers. So please keep that in mind. That's where I stand on, black casings. Here's another one. I need to set all these kids down so they can understand that there are so many cookie cutter glovers that, there's no originality. I'll tell you that you are wrong in this case, because within so many newcomers, yes, if you grab all the newcomers who've been doing this within, I'm going to say 18 months, all right? All new glovers who've been starting within 18 months, yes, they're all going to look the same, because what are they doing? They're all working and building their foundations, their fundamentals, they're getting the basics down, they are learning all the basic stuff they need to learn to expand into their own style. Okay, so if you are a newcomer who's been doing this within the 18-month span and you think that you're a cookie cutter glover, don't. Okay, you are not a cookie cutter glover. You are just starting to learn this wonderful art form, and you're starting to get the basics down. Okay, in time you will find your own gloving voice, like character voice in stories. We have our own character voice in our shows. We have a flair that really defines us as glovers. Okay, and if you're somebody who's been starting within 18 months, you don't have it yet. You're going to get there, but you don't have it yet. Keep working on those basics and you'll get there. Once you have the basics down, then you're going to find your own voice through your own style. All right, so to sit here and say that there's so many new cookie cutter glovers, you got to take into context of the situation. Have they been doing this within 18 months? Yeah, they're probably going to look just like everybody else because they're learning the basics like everybody else. So oh man, I don't know why this becomes such an issue, but you got to take things into context. All right, here's another one. This one again kind of goes back to a previous unpopular opinion. It's kind of circling around, but Glover's Lounge shouldn't be moderated. Let me explain to you how bad of an idea that is. Picture it. Glover's Lounge, 2012. So many trolls and shit posters everywhere that literally there was more of that stuff going on than actual light shows, and so much shade being thrown back and forth. Like, seriously, it was the best way I can describe it. And let me just put this out there. I'm not on Twitter, and I do not intend on getting on Twitter anytime soon. Okay? I would certainly say, GL back in the day was just as bad as the Twitterverse is now, where people literally start throwing fire at each other and literally start intergalactic wars over the internet on each other. Like, this was GL in like 2012 to like 2014, 15-ish, I want to say. It was really bad. Okay, it got really bad. How did we get past that? How do we fix that problem? How do we overcome that challenge of people literally trying to destroy our community from within? moderators. The moderators literally came down from the heavens and literally cleaned out all the filth that was in our community. And not only that, but are fortifying our community the best that they can. Are they perfect? No. They're human beings just like you and I, so they are not perfect. And as much as we want them to be perfect, they're probably never going to get there. And that's okay. Because to me, as long as they're trying and they're really trying to promote a safe, comfortable environment for all of us to just express and share our love for this art form within this community, this fandom, whatever you want to call it, we gotta have people who are willing to bite the bullet, jump on that grenade for the community and, put a stop to people who are trying to destroy it from within. So if you still think that GL shouldn't be moderated, you really need to start changing your tune, because if you weren't there during that dark time of GL history, you do not understand how important it is to have these moderators, alright? Just putting that out there. Here's another one that a lot of people get really heated on, and I get it. I totally get it. It feels like a personal attack on you in some way, but hear me out. Stealing moves is evil. You're wrong. It's not evil. It should be flattery to you. In my opinion, if somebody sees you do a move and they really, really liked it and they try to learn it the best way they can and not get it 100% the way that you do it, I would take that as a compliment. Because not only that, they didn't exactly steal your move. They learned an idea from you and created their own or modified their own version of it, which to me is fine, But to sit here and say that you came up with this move and then you see somebody else do it and you get really mad because they're doing it now and you think everybody else is going to do it. No, stop. Stop right now. Let me explain. I have plenty of moves that I do to this day that I took from other glovers. If you guys know the Skittles Beyond Wonderland 2010 video that he posted way back in the day, there are moves in that show that I still do today. And they're not major like sequences. It's just very simple, a 4-step move. I still do those to this day. Every now and then they'll show up in my show. There are moves I made, I considered that I made up and I consider my signature move that I don't see anyone else really doing, but I saw other people do it. 2014, 2015-ish is where I want to put it. Was it as extensive as mine? No, but the method and the technique was there. Was I mad about it? No. I was actually happy because it shows that I wasn't the only one who saw that line and played around with that line. Okay? So, if you're the type of person who doesn't like feeling like they're getting their moves stolen, I get it, but the only way that this community really grew and actually flourished the way it did is that we learned off of each other. There's a difference between stealing a move and learning a move to become better. All right. And to sit here and think that, you're the only one that's allowed to do that move because you came up with it yourself. No, man, I'm sorry. That's just trying to stop people from doing the move that you considered yourself to be the creator of is the equivalent of like the war on drugs. It is a, futile, outmoded and simply outdated thought process that, it's like, are you going to try to trademark a move? Like, can you do that? If you're able to do that, I would like to see the paperwork, sir. Thank you so much. It's just, it's crazy. To me, there's no such thing as technically stealing moves. Now, if you want to actually use the term stealing moves, the only place I find it appropriate to say that is during a competition where somebody does a show and then the person they're going up against steals a move to use in the show against them. I actually like that though, because that brings that kind of competitive aspect to it. Does that mean that they're going to use it forever? No, they just stole it to show that, they can learn that move too. They're, your guys are on the same level. It's one of those hairy, very murky subject matters when it comes to like competition setting and stealing moves. Just because some people feel like, oh, you stole his move, so now, you made his show invalidated. But no, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. A lot of people think the whole stealing moves thing is just ridiculous, and I agree. Again, somebody who started in 2010, all right, I didn't have a lot of people that I can learn from, and the people that I did hang out with that were also glovers, also had lives outside of work. So when I was sitting there practicing on my own, I had to watch YouTube videos and do the whole play pause thing because they didn't have the slow motion feature on YouTube just yet to learn moves, to learn the foundations, to gain my foundations, to gain the fundamentals I need to progress. So if you're still sitting there thinking that stealing moves is evil, you're just in an outdated thought process. That is a 2012 thought if I ever saw one, All right. Here's another one I know a lot of people are going to get over. It's fine. Because, everyone has their opinion. And I encourage you to have an opinion. If you have an opinion on something, that's fantastic. Do not make it divine law, though. That's all I'm going to say. But blackout gloves can make better shows. I would agree with this. Now, there are a couple of caveats when it comes to blackout gloves. First of all, I encourage everybody to buy a pair of blackout gloves just because blackout gloves make a wonderful practice pair. The white tips on the black gloves emulates the lights, not the strobe effect, but it does emulate where your lights are going to be when you're doing the motion. So you're seeing that movement. You're seeing where things are landing without burning your lights and burning your batteries. All right. But I definitely want to explain what makes blackout gloves such a difficult tool to use and utilize effectively. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use them, period, if you can't use them effectively. It's just, it takes a lot of thought process to understand what makes blackout gloves very unique within our community, okay? Now, the idea of blackout gloves, of course, is to remove the illusion of them actually being attached to something, right? They make things feel more disconnected. It gives you that, detached feeling that you don't see them like being detached, and it kind of gives you that suspended in the air thing. That's one of the ideas when you come to think about when it comes to blackout gloves. But one of the things I will certainly say when it comes to blackout gloves, a lot of moves might lose their appeal. Certain tutting sequences might lose their appeal when it comes to blackout gloves because a lot of the times where it comes to tutting, in my opinion, especially when it comes to tracing and tutting, with white gloves, you're physically seeing the lines that they're creating because it's being illuminated and reflected off of the white gloves themselves. You don't get that with blackout gloves because they're supposed to appear to be disconnected. But if they're done right and if you work on it, you can actually pull it off really well. A very great example of what worked, at least to me, when it came to blackout gloves is the video that I will have linked in this episode's description. It's a boss video. I believe it was between Mumbles and Buddha. Buddha is the one person in this video that I will tell you is using blackout gloves. And in this particular video, this is where I found blackout gloves to really work for me. Okay, it's where they work. It's where his style and everything really was accentuated with how he was doing his performance in this video with blackout gloves. Now, I will certainly tell you, you should follow his journey throughout this entire, boss competition because you get a lot more material to follow, especially when it comes to blackout gloves. But one of the things I would certainly say, like digits and dials, works really, really well with blackout gloves. Like that, those are like the two kind of main concepts to me that make blackout gloves look really, really cool. Just because since you have that disconnected effect, you have this wonderful look that I just think people probably should give a little bit more attention to when it comes to blackout gloves. Now, one other thing I will say about blackout gloves, okay, is it takes time to really understand what their role is when it comes to your performance, and it does take time to figure out what works when you're using them, okay? So I will certainly say if you watch plenty of videos of people who use blackout gloves, not only just use blackout gloves, but use them very effectively, you're going to be able to magnify your performance when you use blackout gloves. Now, it's just very typical for people to use white gloves. It's just very simple, and I get it. You can see more, you can understand more what's going on. But there is just something about blackout gloves that I will keep in my heart because there's a different type of air to it when it comes to a show using blackout gloves. So, like I said, I always will encourage people to use blackout gloves, not even just as practice gloves, but just in general. Okay, so all right. here's the last one. Last one of this episode, and we'll move on from there, alright? Whips at the drops are bad. I never understood this whole idea. I never understood why this became the way it is. I don't know why people think that whipping at the drop is bad when the drop is this point in the song where things just get really crazy. And how else can you really exemplify the craziness and bombacity that is the drop without using a dynamic move such as whips or flails or anything like that? It just boggles my mind that people sit here and tell me that, me moving really fast at a high point of the song and a very strong point of the song is bad. It's beyond me. I don't know where people are coming from. Now, let me kind of say some things here. I'm not saying that you can't tech at the drop either. I've seen plenty of drops that people do really good tech to, and it works, and it works really well. But not every drop in every song is going to work when it comes to tech. Now, I will certainly say the same way when it comes to whips. It doesn't always work at the drop. That's totally fine. Now, I can understand where people are like, oh, I just don't like people who only whip at the drop. They don't do anything else. Okay, that's understandable. Now, if you're that type of person who thinks that and you want people to start changing, you need to explain how people can make that better. Maybe the first drop that's in the song you can do a bunch of whips to, but then when it comes to the second drop, maybe you should tell them they'd go into like king tutting or something of that effect, where it's not whips again and still is different but still follows the progression of the song and all that other stuff. I can keep going on days and days and days about this, but to me, I just think it's one of those things, like when it comes to like the anime community and the term weebs or weeaboos, the internet destroyed the actual meaning of what those words are, that I don't think you can actually give an accurate representation of what that word means. This particular opinion, I feel, is in the same vein as like weeaboos or overrated and underrated or edgy when it comes to certain stuff in the anime community. I feel like this opinion is that now. It is just some thought process somebody had back in the day and is a meme of its own. You know what I mean? So if you still think that whipping at the drop period is bad, you have a very bad opinion, and I feel like you need to change it. Now, if you don't want to change your opinion, that's fine. If nothing changes your opinion after what I said on this episode, that is fine. There's nothing I can do about that. I try to, present an argument for you guys to understand, or to at least look at both sides. I gave you my opinion on where I stand on certain things. As you could probably tell, when it comes to denoting or downplaying something in the community, it's something I really don't like, just because, it's like just saying, I don't know, it's like saying one color is better than the other. It's your opinion. To one person, that color is beautiful. To you, it might be ugly, but to that person, it's beautiful. It's the same thing when it comes to gloving. Some stuff in gloving is beautiful to people that might be ugly to you. Some things that you find beautiful are absolutely hideous to the rest of the people, and that's okay. Okay, that's the beauty about gloving, is that it has this wonderful, diverse palette that you can find any spot to sit in and enjoy with like-minded people. We have camps of consensus within the community that you can go and hang out with. All right, so that is my episode, and I can certainly tell you, I know this one is certainly long. It takes quite a bit of time that I didn't really think it was going to be possible. But I will certainly say, if you have any unpopular opinions that were not covered in this episode, you can let me know what those are by hitting me up at the various outlets that I do have that you can contact me with. Of course, I do have the Facebook page, which is called The Gloving Paradigm. You can always find me on there. I'm also on Reddit under the username MuttonChopGuy, and my email is muttonchopguy@gmail.com. Those are other two places you can hit me up at. And I do have my own Discord server if you want to get on that. It will be linked in this episode's description down below. Not only that, I am on the Worldwide Gloving Group Discord chat. I try to get on there as much as possible. I just want to say thank you to the people who are on the Discord chat with me a lot of the times. Special shout out to Mute, Morty, Starchin, Tut. You guys awesome. You guys are always consistently on there. You guys are pushing the community, especially during this time right now where a lot of us are still kind of stuck at home or are just very limited on what they can do. Thanks. But yes, thank you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for actually encouraging and promoting the community to work together through Discord. Surprisingly enough, there have been public room chats now that Discord has added, so it has made lab sessions with people around the world a lot easier, in my opinion. So if you are not on this Discord chat, definitely get on there. It really, really does help. Other than that, I do want to thank everybody who's liked the page so far. All my new likes, you guys are amazing. All the people who have stuck with me since the beginning, you guys are also amazing. I absolutely love you guys. You guys really give me the motivation to keep going, especially now with the Discord chat. You guys have really been pushing me, and I've been really, really happy. I feel very invigorated to keep going within this community. So I just want to express my love and my thanks to all my listeners and also the new people who are coming in and listening on to the show. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't keep doing this. I would have probably stopped over a year ago, and I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad I've been consistently persisting on this journey. So I hope you guys have been enjoying that with me. But yes, that is pretty much all for my episode. Once again, thank you so much for supporting this show, supporting me through your silent devotion. I do appreciate you guys. I absolutely love you guys. But I am your host, Peter, aka LPD at Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.